Welcome to the Surviving to Thriving podcast that helps women leaders in nonprofits get out of survival mode and thrive in both leadership and life. I'm your host, leadership development coach Kathy Archer, and I help women leaders enjoy impactful leadership. I want you to think about a time when you had a really good idea, something valuable to add to the conversation, and you didn't say it. What would have happened if you did say it? What might have changed in that topic that you guys were talking about, and in the way perhaps people saw you, and in the work that you were doing, your idea? How could that have changed the work you were doing? Perhaps it might have had a big difference. I want you to think about a challenging conversation that you've been avoiding for a long time. I know you've got a few. That, thing you need to say to that difficult person that you work with that keeps picking at you and driving you nuts. Think about that. And how long have you been avoiding that conversation? And I want you to think about what might happen if somehow you magically had the courage to have that conversation and it made a difference that you want it to make. Just imagine the difference you could make if you stepped out of your comfort zone. Last week, I introduced you to the comfort zone and how it actually used to be, with our biological ancestors, a physiological reaction to a physical fear when they left their comfort zone. So they left their comfort zone and, they're out of their cave and they went out hunting and gathering and a storm was brewing or something happened. And there was a threat to their lives. And so they went running back to their safety zone. Now, when we leave our comfort zone, it's not a physical threat, it's an emotional threat. And so if we throw our idea out there at a meeting, step outside your comfort zone, right? You have an idea, you're scared to share it. If you actually step outside your comfort zone and throw your idea out, what's the risk? You're not going to die, but somebody might tell you that's a dumb idea. Somebody who said they were going to support you when you shared that idea might stay quiet and throw you under the bus and see how bad it goes. You have a risk of being abandoned, ridiculed, undermined by throwing that idea out. That's an emotional risk, not a physical risk. And that's what keeps us in our comfort zone. If you go have that conversation with that person, what might happen? They might not like you. They might talk behind your back. Somebody might come along and say, that was wrong. I remember when I had issues with my staff that I needed to address, and I knew the potential was that if I talked to them, they would go running to my boss and tell him what I said and how I said it. And it could create this whole big mess. So there was always this fear in the back of my mind that if I addressed an issue with the staff, that somebody was going to tell me I did it wrong, that I should have done this differently, or that I didn't do it in a way that was good enough. So those are emotional fears. It's the fear of being abandoned or judged or rejected or ridiculed. And it's those things that keep us in our comfort zone. But again, when we're in our comfort zone, we're not growing and we're not going anywhere. We're stuck. We're stuck in that survival mode where we spend our day basically doing whack-a-mole, hitting all the things that pop up every day, whatever crisis pops up, whatever email, whatever phone call, whatever meeting I have to attend, and never getting to the meaningful, impactful work that we want to do. Maybe you want to just grow your staff and develop your staff, but you never have time to have a conversation with them about growing and developing them. Maybe you want to do some personal development work, but you never get to the point where you do that. Maybe you've always wanted to go back and get your degree. Maybe you just want time to think strategically so you can grow and be a better leader rather than just that quick responsive reaction. You're not going to get there stuck in your comfort zone. So I'm going to talk about 3 ways or 3 steps that you need to do today to get out of your comfort zone. And the first one is to identify it. So in last week's podcast, episode number 21, we talked about how to identify it. And there's a guide sheet that goes with that, and I'll put the link below as well. But the first step is to figure out, where am I hanging out in my comfort zone? So noticing maybe where you hold yourself back, or where you avoid things, or where you pause before you step into places. Those are signs that you've been in your comfort zone. And then also look for those physiological signs. When you think about adding value to a conversation and your body heats up because you're scared to say something, that's probably a sign that you're about to step out of your comfort zone. And if you hold back, where you stay in your comfort zone. Or where you get those tension headaches, like, I need to go have that conversation, don't have time today, and you put it off and you put it off, and then something else happens. You're like, damn it, if I just went and had that conversation, maybe we wouldn't be there. But you put it off again and you put it off again. All signs you're stuck in your comfort zone. So that's the first step, is to notice when you're in your comfort zone and what it looks like and what it feels like. Step 2 is to then create the target. Remember, we've talked about this before. We're teleological beings. We need targets. So if it's not stuck in your comfort zone, where is it that you want to be? In episode number 17, I believe, we talked about creating your thriving target. And so that's kind of what you need to do, is think about, okay, if I'm not in my comfort zone and I'm being my best self, I've reached my full potential, I'm having the impact I want to have, what would I be doing differently? How would I be engaged in conversations? What would it look like when I'm addressing conversations with the difficult people on my team? Where would I be adding more value in meetings, and what would that look like, and what would I feel like when I'm adding that more value? So that's the second step. First step, identify what it feels like, looks like, is to be in your comfort zone, and then identify the target of where you want to be when you're not in your comfort zone, what that feels like, looks like, the impact you're having. Then the third step, you've probably already guessed what this is. The third step is to come back and figure out, what do I need to do to get there? And here's where a lot of the work comes into play in the training library. This is where we start looking at, what's the resistance I'm feeling? When we talk about that fear of abandoned, judged, ridiculed, it's looking at, what are those thoughts I have? In Mastering Confidence, I really walk you through the inner guidance cycle to access that inner wisdom that you have. So remember, we've talked about the inner guidance cycle being pause, ponder, pivot, and proceed. So we pause and go, okay, I'm afraid of being ridiculed. Really? So what's that all about? And often here's what I find sometimes, when I'm afraid of somebody judging me, and I go back and I'm like, do I really care about what that person thinks about me? And often the answer is not so much. Maybe I do to a point. But then I also have to think about, but what if I stretched outside my comfort zone and I reached my potential? Then what would they think of me? Perhaps they can have those thoughts. Maybe those thoughts about them thinking that I'm stupid or it's a dumb idea are actually more reflective of what they're feeling. And so that's some of that inner work that you get to do, is come back and start to really pick that apart. So looking at your thoughts is incredibly important. Then it's noticing the fear. And what's that saying about feel the fear and do it anyway? Oh, there's fear. I'm feeling that knot in my stomach. My throat has gotten tight. I feel myself getting sweaty and my face getting flushed. Oh, that's fear. Do I want to stay here? Nope, don't want to stay here. What do I want to do? I want to keep moving through that discomfort. And there's a saying that says something to the effect of, everything you want is on the other side of a 30-second conversation. And I've talked to many of you about this kind of stuff. Once you start the conversation, it's that first few minutes that are uncomfortable, awkward, weird, scary. And once you get through that, things often get smoother. Not all the time. We'll grant it, not all the time. But sometimes it's on the other side of that difficult conversation that you find that you're able to move again and move towards your potential and have your team and you develop and grow. But you got to get through that. Getting out of your comfort zone then is 3 steps. Identify what it feels like to be in it. Identify what it feels like to be where you want to be. And start taking the action steps to get there. And those action steps include looking at your thoughts, feelings, body sensations. All of that stuff is in the ponder step of the inner guidance cycle. If you need more help with that, head on over. The link is below to my book, Mastering Confidence. You can get some of it for free on my website. You get to listen to the first few chapters for free if you head over to the link. But in Mastering Confidence, I really go deeper into the inner guidance cycle to help you go pause, stop. What am I feeling? Do that pondering piece, thoughts, feelings, body sensations, and then that pivot piece. Here's the perspective I'm in. I'm afraid they're going to judge me. Is that helping me reach my potential? Heck no. Okay, so is that the perspective I want to be in? No, I want to judge myself. And if I'm reaching my full potential, then I'm saying this thing that I need to say. I'm having this conversation. I'm signing up for this course, and I'm not worried about what other people are going to think because I know that it's going to help me be my best self. That's that whole process of going through and changing what's going on inside of you so that you can take those steps to get outside of your comfort zone and reach your full potential. So to get out of the comfort zone, 3 steps: identify what it feels like, thoughts, feelings, body sensations, to be stuck in the comfort zone. Identify that target. We're teleological. We need targets. Write down. I've got a guide sheet to go with this to help you figure this out. Write down the what it looks like, feels like, the thoughts that are going on when you're in your comfort zone, and then create the steps you need to do to get there. Again, I've got a little guide sheet to help you remember those steps and start working the process. If you need more help with that, head over to the training library and look at some of the courses in there, which will absolutely help you dive deeper into those middle pieces to help you take the steps to get outside your comfort zone. And then the book Mastering Confidence is something else that will really help you get there. When you do this work, my dear, when you identify where you are stuck in your comfort zone, you do the work to get out of your comfort zone, you, my dear, will be moving from surviving to thriving in both your leadership and life. Go make the rest of your day awesome, my dear. If you found today's episode helpful, then you are going to love the training library. Many women leaders in nonprofits wish that they had a coach or a mentor to help them, but they don't believe that they or their organization can afford it. Oh, but you can. Inside of the Training Library membership site, you will not only get access to affordable and easily accessible ongoing personal and professional development training, you will also have access to a leadership coach at your fingertips. That way, when you hit those inevitable challenges that leadership will bring your way, you'll have both the resources and the support to navigate your way through them with confidence, composure, and while keeping your integrity intact. To find out more, head to kathyarcher.com/library. If you are enjoying the show, I'd love it if you could leave me a comment or a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks for listening. Go make the rest of your day awesome.